Welcome to Podlander, Drunkcast, and Outlander podcast. I'm Allison. I'm Julie. That is Janine.
Oh my God.
And folks, oh my God, look at it go.
That is so fucking funny.
I got to give you this context because it is likely that this is going to be a weird one because this is the last episode that the three of us are going to record in person for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. It's a real bummer. Our beloved Janine leaves for the wilds of Washington tomorrow morning. Listen to that pour. And a Guinness just exploded right in his face.
It was it's so delicious and refreshing.
How is the non-alcoholic Guinness? Is it good? I can see that it would be.
Yeah, it has the same consistency you'd hope for. It's missing something. You can tell it's missing something, right. But like nothing. It's not like having an O'Doul's.
Amazing.
It's really good.
Also excellent shade on O'Doul's.
You know what's even worse than O'Doul's though?
What?
St. Pauli girl.
Oh no. Like, that exists?
Oh yeah. Dude, I had it in Vegas. It was the only non-alcoholic beer they had at this bar that Tom and I were at. And that shit does not taste good. This episode not brought to you by St. Pauli girl. St. Pauli girl. Nuh-uh. Not on tonight. Not on tonight. So this is our last in-person Janine episode, and we're gonna have some feelings, I suspect.
Yeah.
Which is probably good because this episode, meh. And by this episode, I mean season 6, episode 7 of Outlander, titled
Sticks and Stones.
Oh.
Which I don't know if you're familiar with this particular turn of phrase, but sticks and stones may break your bones, but words. I can't remember the rest of it.
Will never hurt you. Wait a second. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. At the last time we were here, we left on a heavy cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this episode doesn't like.
We'll discuss it.
This is a classic. Oh, also, by the way, I have learned from the internet that mostly because I was doing some website check something, so I was typing Podlander Drunkcast into Google. And the first suggestion that came up was Podlander Drunkcast hosts, right?
What? That's the auto-populate?
Yeah.
People are trying to find us?
Yes. So this is where, for newcomers, I will say that the whole shtick here for exactly 90 more minutes or however long we're recording is that there are three of us. I have read the books and watched the show, and I'm a TV critic is my job. That's my actual job. Julie has not read the books. She watches the show, and she's the funny one. And then,
speaking of fucking bullshit,
and then there's Janine, who the shtick used to be Janine doesn't watch the show and also doesn't have a microphone, and then the internet collectively rose up. They
fucking pitchforks, man.
Collective action. They unionized and said, "What do we want? A microphone for Janine. When do we want it? 16 episodes ago." And we got Janine a microphone. So when I say what I'm about to say, this is because it's my job to recognize shit like this. Episodes like this one, penultimate episodes, are often like the calm before the storm. Mm-hmm. That doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't good, and I don't think this is a bad episode. No. Like, it's good. It does exactly what it's supposed to, but it's
the edging.
Treading water a little bit. No, it's not edging.
Because it's about to get to the climax.
No,
but it's like,
we need to stall. We need to stall. Lotzie. We need to stall. We need to stall. Lotzie. We need to stall. We need to stall. Caitriona Balfe wins an Emmy. Lotzie, and then the plot moves forward.
Got it.
Basically.
Oh, okay.
I would 100% agree with everything she said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's like when you're at the top of the roller coaster and sometimes it just sits there and it's too long, and you're like and then you're like, okay. Yeah. It's like that.
Michael Caine.
It's that extended like okay. I can't, but and then
it's the episode equivalent of really thinking you have to sneeze and really get into it
yes!
and then not sneeze.
Julie!
Oh.
Who's the professional TV critic? No.
That's what it is.
Oh, wow.
It's not bad.
Okay.
It's just like
Yeah.
when it's over.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a disconnect here in that we are like, oh, but this feeling, we have some feelings, and then the episode is like,
Man.
boo. Lotsy. Boom, boom, boom. Time to make a Perry Mason joke. Boom,
I will say this, though. One of the Lotsies, or one of the MacGuffins, if you want to call it that, is so fucking awesome. I almost stood up and cheered until I thought about it a little bit more deeply and then got a little grossed out, but you'll hear.
Okay.
You remember Chekhov's ointment?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Chekhov's ointment?
Remember when she said that? We're going to call that Chekhov's ointment when the Beardsley twins were going to take care of
Chekhov's
Lizzie?
ointment goes off in this episode, if you know what I mean.
Oh, hello.
Get ready.
Get ready. That's the best
Lotsy.
thing. Well, no, that's the second best thing about this episode. The actual best thing about it is a scene that Caitriona Balfe has.
Yes.
Cool.
Which is why I said
That wins
Caitriona
an
Balfe
Emmy.
wins an Emmy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I do feel the need to mention that this is going to be an incredibly competitive year at the Emmys for acting. So prepare yourselves to potentially be disappointed. But she, if
Nailed
there
it.
is any justice in the world, should absolutely be in the hunt. So let's do this thing.
Let's. I even this time wrote down writer and director because I'm learning.
So did I, but it's the only thing I wrote down, so I didn't bring my notebook because it was literally the only thing I wrote down.
All right.
Oops.
Writers.
Two
Daniel
more.
Barrow.
I wanted to say two more things before I forget. One, I need to know if we took a page of Julie's notes and put them on a T-shirt, who would buy them?
Did a poll just activate?
Yes, somewhere. Please tell us. Two, Janine, this is what I was going to start the episode with until you're getting
Until
exploded.
I fucking, yeah.
Can we, after we record this episode proper, do one more Janine's Corner where we make Julie go in the bedroom and put her fingers in her ears, and then we do a Janine's Corner for the In the Books folks? Because there's a thing that happens in the most recent book that I cannot wait. However many years it's going to take before we get there. I just need to tell one of you, and
Okay.
since you're leaving,
I'm
You're
the goal.
right.
Yeah.
Lock tight.
Okay, let's do it.
great. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, back to this episode. So I just want to talk about other things. But let's do this.
Okay. Writer Daniel Barrow. Director Jamie Payne. You know what? Serviceable work all the way around, including filling me at one moment with great delight. So great. Good job. We open before the credits with Malva in the church testifying. And it's like, oh, flashback, right? Because we definitely saw her dead meat. We know she's dead.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
extremely
She's
dead.
the
so
most
dead.
She
dead.
could not be more dead.
Such an unfortunate
She's so
dead.
dead that if Malva came outside of her own body, she could cut off her own fingers for a love charm without it being a difficulty at all.
You're right. That's how dead she is.
Very
Yes,
dead.
extremely
So
dead.
But we get a little flashback about her talking in the church about being assaulted by someone that she respected and trusted. The devil can come. She's basically casting her assailant as the devil, and everybody knows she's talking about Jamie.
Oh.
But she's not saying his name out loud. But it's also like this weird little thing because she could be talking about her dad. She could be talking about her brother.
Yeah.
Like it's intentionally vague. I mean, because the last episode, know that she's probably trying to get more people drummed up on this gossip about Jamie so
Yeah.
that she has more leverage and more power. But whatever. It could be. It's complicated.
But we also know from some context earlier in the season that that her dad was. It's very likely that her dad was like, "You dirty whore, you need to confess what you did to the church."
Mm-hmm.
So whether or not this is something she chose to do is
Up in the air. Right.
Sure.
We'll never know.
Well, I mean, she said what she said, obviously, but the impetus for doing that is unclear.
Mm-hmm. And I said, "Is this a flashback or was it all a dream?" God, I will be pissed off if that is the case. And then
no.
flashback. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
flashback.
don't fucking lost me again, bitches. Don't ever lost me again.
It's that I won't be fooled again. I like the lost finale.
Ooh.
It's just me. But
I'm
no,
with you. I didn't hate it. I
I
wasn't
mean,
upset.
I don't say. I'm not gonna say I love it, but I
Wasn't upset. I wasn't upset.
could have been way more upset. You know what I was upset by? Pee pool.
Yes. The
Pee
people.
But that was
really
not in the
ruined it.
finale.
No, it was the episode before.
People.
But the idea that the people existed, the fucking golden showers pool.
I totally forgot about that.
See, don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
really don't remember.
You know what? Let Lost go.
Yeah.
Let it go, baby.
You know what? I lost it.
Oh! Okay. I'm going to go ahead and check that off my list of things we need to make sure that Janine does one more time before the end. Terrible joke. Check.
Wait, I only get one?
No, of course you get as many as you want, sweetheart.
There will be more than one.
Just making sure. It's just off my bingo card.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know what? You know what this episode has a lot of? Hot piss. Be careful what you wish for, because we always want more hot piss. And I'm very glad that we get a lot of hot piss in this episode. But
When you got that much hot piss, some of it's lukewarm.
and then sometimes you get a pee pool.
Yes. Oh my God.
Too much hot piss is a pee pool.
She is fucking right. I can't believe she just leaked that shit. And now it's over. I'm just going to press stop.
Thank you very much for listening.
Okay.
So, this is our pee pool episode, but some good shit in there.
So Malva told everybody. She got up in church and said it. That's what we see.
Okay.
And then this time I really paid attention to the title card, and I got to tell you something. Y'all, there was a title card last episode. It was just so brief and so interwoven we missed it. It was the elk that dies like crossing into the stream.
Oh.
I loved this title card.
This one was very cute if you like ladybugs
See,
and
I
blood.
don't think it was
Kidding.
cute.
I know it wasn't cute.
Okay, good. It's you know how we said that when Claire found Malva's body, she had like pushed over a bunch of like grass or reeds or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Wheat, whatever. It was some sort of plant life, like like stiff looking plant life, and there's a ladybug crawling up the back of it, so it's like red going up instead of coming down. It was very cool.
And then it came around one edge, and there's a big drop of blood on the reed,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And then the ladybug's like, "Fuck no," and nopes out around the end. Yeah.
Yep. It's
Cool.
it's a
But it
really
was
good
great.
little.
That's a
yeah.
good one.
Sometimes those are too on the nose. This one was great.
So then we open on the turnip patch with the very, very dead Malva Christie's body.
Oh my God.
And it's Jamie and Claire and Dad and Get Fucked Face Christie. And I have to say that I was really, really surprised at how not freaked out either one of them were.
Was this like once the shock is like
No,
kicked in
there
kind of
was
thing, or-
like little to no of. I mean, the brother was a little bit more fucked up than Tom, but they were both kind of just like, she's dead, like that. Like,
Yeah.
did it feel that way?
Well, yes,
Okay.
but I think we already know that Tom Christie is like he's a shut it down guy, right? He doesn't. He's got one setting. The actor has infinite settings.
Yes.
Yes.
Tom Christie has one setting, and I think it is meant to be ambiguous exactly what's going on underneath that
Okay.
setting. I think that after watching all of the performative outrage from Alan Christie, that it's very weird that he's so chill.
Yeah.
And like, I was about to say shaken, but it's not. He's not shaken.
No, that's the thing. There was no shock.
It
There was no,
was-
like, if you just walked up and saw your sister's dead body with her
Claire
throat
is
slit.
Oh,
shocked.
I
Of
believe
course.
it. 'Cause, yeah.
Jamie is. Sam is really good in this episode.
Yes.
Looks unwell.
Yeah.
Tom Christie again, one setting. So who knows what's going on
But
behind
Alan,
that. But Alan it's weird.
Get Fucked Face is kind of weirdly calm about it.
Yeah.
Whatever. But Tom opens with an amazing question. How long did it take her to die? Do you think she had enough time to pray for her eternal soul?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, this guy, right? Oh, God, loads of fun at parties.
Oh.
It's an interesting scene because he's asking the question. He's very clearly asking the question as a father.
Yeah.
But there's this tension that runs over the whole episode, which is part of what I think makes it a little bit underwhelming. Is the whole episode. It's like what they're trying to get us to wonder is whether or not Claire did it. But Claire is the hero. She definitely didn't kill Malva Christie in the garden. You know what I mean? Like, that's plot armor. That's
Yeah.
not me saying that as a book reader. That is
that is Jamie cheated on Claire with this bitch. Hell no, he
No,
didn't.
absolutely not.
No.
It's
Yeah.
there are characters that you can see there being a shocking turn, right? But we have a shocking turn for Claire this season. It's the ether.
The ether is shock enough.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
And it's shocking within the realm of possibility.
Yes.
The ambiguity Claire is experiencing is interesting, but I think the episode sort of wants us to wonder, and we just don't.
No.
So
Oh,
instead,
interesting.
the question that the episode ends up asking is, well, when does Claire officially get accused of murder? And the answer is at the very end, because they just need to spin those wheels so that they can gear up for the finale, and then it's like all bets are off. And there's still good things that happens, but yeah, it's. As they're doing this scene, that's how I got there. As they're going through this scene, Tom is asking questions like, how long did it take her to die? Did she have time to pray? But what's hanging overhead of all of that is, how long did it take her to die right outside your surgery when you were apparently in your surgery and she was murdered and somehow you were in there and you didn't know, right? Like and Claire is obviously being extremely cagey. She's like, oh, well, it was busy in the surgery. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
And no one is coming out and saying it because Jamie Fraser will fucking murder you.
Yeah, he will. He is ready.
You can see everyone's like,
Ride or
"All
die,
right,
bitch. Ride or die.
all right. Spoiler, when eventually it's time to accuse Claire of murder, a small army shows up because
You know, don't fuck with this man.
like everybody knows,
He
man.
is a known serial killer.
Bear killer. Bear killer.
He's killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
And one of them was in a bear suit.
So, I had a note here where Tom is like, we're going to bury this whore in the woods. She doesn't get a consecrated burial. And it's like, damn, this guy fucking sucks.
Wow.
And then Claire and Jamie are like, absolutely not. She will be buried in the Ridge Cemetery in consecrated ground. We are doing this. It is my land. Jamie actually like bows
Yeah.
up on him. He's like, my land, my rules. She gets buried in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Claire's like, I volunteer to 6 feet under that bitch. Like, she's got to sew up the neck and, like, do all the, like, after dead shit to Malva's body.
We get a lot of the photography in this episode. This isn't the one that you should watch, Gene. Obviously, episode 6 is the one you should watch.
Yeah,
but
totally.
there's some really interesting photography in this one. There's a lot of, like, extreme close-ups of Claire's hand holding the needle and shaking.
Yeah.
Like a lot of really interesting out of focus shit, especially once a certain brown town ass clown starts showing back up.
Too much brown town ass clown.
There's a lot of he's in the frame but he's out of focus,
Or his mouth isn't moving, or he's like,
Yeah.
Oh, so this was like a cinematographer's dream on this one.
Yeah.
It's like we have a mood we have to share, and
Yeah.
this is how it's gonna go.
I think they go to the well too often, but it's always well handled. Like the photography is really nice. And by that I mean terrible. I never expected that my favorite Outlander mode would be horror movie mode, but it turns out
Beardsley's House of
Horrors,
Horrors and
yeah.
last episode.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking
and
incredible.
the undercurrent, like the aftershock, I guess, of the last episode, when we go to that horrifying place in this episode, it is effective. Like there's too much of the brown stuff, but some of it is very
effective.
very effective. It's horrifying.
So we cut, first of all, that first scene just ends with everybody just staring at Claire like, duh. And Claire being like, I'll put the kettle on. Like, yeah, it's bad for Claire. And then we flash to the surgery and you've got Malva's dead body laid out on the table underneath the sheet. You can tell because it's a visibly pregnant, very dead body. And then Claire turns around and it's a close-up of the ether mask being like, hey, right here.
Oh, gee.
Why don't you fucking just put me over your face and just fucking pass the fucking out?
We're essentially doing like a dare video now.
Hey, Claire, it's me.
You
the
looking pretty
ether
good,
mask.
doll.
Why don't we get back together? I miss you. I miss you, babe.
And you see her like look at it and actually have a moment of trying to resist it. This is really the first time we've seen her actively try to resist it. But then she has this weird flash in her brain. And you know she's been having these kind of hallucinations recently, so this is like part of that. Let me see, what did I read? She's got the shakes, and this might be when she's picking up the needle. And the death bird showed up, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Death sparrow.
She gets
Showed up.
she gets flashes of all kinds of earlier shit, sort of a couple of times in this episode.
Gayless made it.
We get some Gayless, we get some Dougal, we get some
Nice.
Frank.
Oh.
It's all stuff we've heard before.
Yeah.
She's flashing back, so it's not like they got Tobias Menzies on the phone. Like, can you hop on Zoom? We just need to.
Can you just do this one? We got a line for you, please.
But she is obviously Claire's thrust through this episode is, of course I didn't do this, except for maybe I did, and the reason I don't know is because I'm a drug addict, and I also have to confront the fact that I can see myself being the person who did this. Like, I can see that there is a possibility that this was me and I somehow don't know.
Yeah. Fucking Caitriona is amazing.
She's amazing in this episode. Yeah, she's really great.
What did I say? Maybe. Oh, and then she gets so shaky after she has this hallucination. Shout out to Deathbird. She kind of like stumbles out of the surgery, and you know how it's across that open air walkway from their parlor? She stumbles into their parlor and grabs the bottle of whiskey, and I'm like, well, I guess it's not ether, but maybe this isn't a really good idea right now. And then she throws the top of the decanter onto the table, and while she pours 2 huge doubles of whiskey and drinks them, and that little crystal decanter top goes shh, 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 for like 30 seconds, and I'm like, give it an Emmy.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I actually. What is that?
Was that
that decanter stopper should win a cameo Emmy.
Was that almost like an Inception top kind of situation?
It was definitely something, because it showed you how alone she was in that moment.
Yeah.
How very alone she was.
Yeah, it was a great little detail.
Yeah, it was great. Like, Emmy for the fucking stopper.
You know, and I know there's a lot more to go through, but I'm knowing that we're going to get to her Emmy moment at the end of this.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Episode. It's striking to me how like there's a very specific goal after seeing Malva dead and all that jazz. But like Caitriona's like milking it for all it's worth in the best way possible.
Oh, what's happening is we're finally getting to watch Claire come to terms with all of her past trauma.
Yeah.
Like, she's finally truly starting to accept it and let it through to her.
Interesting.
She has a very great monologue in here about compartmentalization and how she's had to do that her entire life, like when she was a nurse in the forces and all that shit. And so this is her admitting that is going away, and now she is being forced to confront all these things in her past.
Oh wow.
Right? So it's great.
And a lot of things that she obviously trauma that she has experienced, but also a lot of guilt and shame, and those things seem, as they often are, to be linked.
Yeah.
So if you ask Claire intellectually, does she think she deserves what happened to her at the end of last season?
No.
I'm sure she would say no. But there's some part of her that thinks that she does.
Yeah.
That thinks that she is a terrible person, and that everything bad that has happened to her and the people in her life has happened because of who she is and because of her selfishness and because of her...
the choice she made to go back in the past.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, it's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So, Allison, tell me who Mr. Crombie is. I don't know. I don't remember this fucker.
Hiram Crombie, he's been in this... We talked about him a couple episodes ago, and I think I was like, he is a significant figure on the Ridge.
Okay.
Hiram Crombie is... he's old man shakes fist at cloud.
Oh shit, that
with
guy.
Jesus. He does not. He's not into the Catholics. He's not into the women folks. He's not into all kinds of shit. And he has a lot of say with the fisher folk and with the other non-Catholics on the Ridge, right? He's gonna be around. Hiram Crombie sticks around.
Well, Hiram Crombie likes to stir some shit up.
He does.
Ooh, girl. He came to the house.
Oh no.
He walks right
Hiram
up to
Crombie
the house.
is a messy bitch who lives for drama.
He is. He is bringing the drama. I was, frankly, when he walked away, I was like, damn, thanks for bumping it up a little bit, Hiram.
Yeah.
So he shows up and basically just is like, hey, we know what's going on. Your wife did it. Like...
Is this when the army showed
It's
up?
like
or is it just...
2 ticks away from murderess says what?
Yeah, murder says what? He just keeps pushing Jamie, and you can see Jamie being like, get the fuck away from me before I destroy you. But it's that Jamie tells him to speak plainly. Like he comes down and he's like, speak plainly. And then it's nothing but your wife is a murdering whore.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not great.
Ooh,
Yeah.
buddy.
Right.
Jesus.
And then
Jamie says, if you value your life, choose your next words carefully.
and then he shuts the fuck up, turns around and walks away because he might be smart.
He just heel
it's
turn.
weird. You hear this like sound, and that's his balls going up inside his body.
Yeah,
He's like,
This guy could kill me.
I'ma go.
This guy's killed like 60 people. I gotta go.
yeah.
And then we're back to Claire, and this begins a thing that happens, I think, about 3 times too many in the episode. Claire is now continually like living with Browntown ass clown haunting her.
Oh.
And it's not just when she's doing ether, it's like he is representing all of the fear and guilt and shame inside of her. And sometimes, as Allison was talking earlier, the cinematography, like he'll be kind of out of frame, but he's still in the scene.
Oh.
And like kind of like misty edges. Sometimes he talks directly to her. Sometimes she just hears him and his mouth isn't moving. Like he's become part of her.
Or she'll be at the center of the frame, and you'll just see like a blurry outline walk behind her. That kind of shit.
So she's being haunted.
Yeah,
Holy
it's
fuck.
it's super effective. Julie's
much.
right. They do it
Okay.
too many times. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
gist is, in fact, I don't know that this episode is going to be super long because we've covered a lot of the plot already of this section of the plot of what Claire is dealing with. And maybe that's the way to go about it. Maybe we do everything from that storyline first, and then we go back to the other.
Everything from what Claire is going through.
Yeah.
God, that's so hard for me with my notes, but I will
then no,
attempt it.
Nope. Then we don't have to. That's totally fine.
I will attempt it.
Nope. That's cool. That's all right.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just this episode is Claire's like, oh God, and then Browntown will show up and say some like murderous. She's like, yeah,
You're right.
I think maybe that's possible.
And then over there is the little ether mask going, hey baby, come here. Let's fucking hang out. Why don't we ever talk anymore?
Oh my god.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like that.
Oh my god.
Let's see.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is when Lizzie shows up and Janine,
What?
strap your ass to that chair because there's some shit coming to you right now that's going to blow your damn mind.
I'm holding my other microphone.
This is when I need to briefly apologize for lightly. You will not remember.
Okay.
But earlier in the season, I did that thing where I'm remembering parts of the book, but I'm picturing the actors in the show, so I think it's already happened, but it hasn't. Some of this, what you're about to hear, I accidentally spoiled on the show, and book readers would be the only people who caught it.
Okay.
I kind of saw it coming, but it's because it's been like Lizzie's liberation on the ridge is a slow burn in the background this whole time, and I know that the Beardsley twins like her, so I kind of knew what was coming. Anyway, Lizzie comes into the room. I don't know why Bree's there. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go that in depth. But Bree like looks over and sees some grass in the back of Lizzie's hair, like hay. And she's like, what have you been up to? What's going on? And she's like, oh, nothing. And then like tries to move away, and we're all like, we know what hay in a woman's hair means. Somebody's getting fucked at a stable. Yeah?
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
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 And I was like, Lizzie has shit in her hair. Was she laying on the ground? She was in the stable on the ground. Yeah.
Good for Lizzie. Yeah.
And in the middle of this scene, fucking what's his name shows up, dude that was fucking Malva behind the lectern of the fucking pulpit. What, Henderson?
Obadiah Henderson.
And he tries to spin this shit, and Roger is standing right there like, bro.
It's actually, credit to Richard Rankin, it's pretty funny. He's like, gee, I know you and Malva were friends. It must be really sad for you. He's like, what are you talking about? It's like, because you knew Malva, you knew Malva, wink, wink. And he's like, I don't know, what are you saying? What are you saying? And
"You know I
finally
saw you,
Roger's
right?"
like, yeah, I remember I was there. I
saw you guys fucking.
I saw you fucking in the church. Do you not remember that, bro?
He's like, come on. And fucking nothing from this guy except more shit about Claire, right? Because let's pin it on a woman.
Well, and he wanted to show up to be like, where's Ian, huh? How come he gets to go around and ask who murdered Malva when we all know it was your wife? Because also, remember when he punched me in the face? He punched me in the face.
That's right, because Jamie has sent Ian and a couple of other people out to talk to everybody on the ridge.
Beardsleys.
Oh, right.
Jamie was like,
the MacGuffin.
Ian, go find the Beardsleys and go
around
collect
the ridge
evidence.
and get info.
Also, I think it was in the scene with Lizzie. We get Roger talking about Perry Mason.
Yes.
And they talk about motive, means, and opportunity.
Motive, means, and Claire's like, me.
Oh God,
It's me.
I have motive.
I'm the only one that fits a Perry Mason profile.
I have opportunity.
It's me.
Somebody call Raymond. So basically, it's
Matthew Reese, right?
Or Matthew Reed. The grimdark Perry Mason. So it's grim, but he's real hot.
Yeah, he is.
There's a scene in the new Perry Mason where he fucks so hard he falls off the side of the bed and gets wedged in between the bed and the wall.
Oh yeah, you suck. Yeah,
Guys, it's a good scene.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that sounds amazing.
It's a good scene of television. Anyway, it's basically there's a little bit of like Ridge CSI. Frankly, there's not enough Ridge CSI. This episode could use less Browntown, more Ridge CSI.
Agreed.
It should have been 3 parts. It should have been Claire's melting down, who killed Malva Christie, and the Lizzie storyline. Instead, it was the Lizzie storyline and Claire melts down, and then occasionally Roger's like, who done it? And that's
What happened?
I would like it to be. This is a minor adjustment. A Ridge Murder She Wrote.
That could have happened, but there's nobody as stylish as Jessica Fletcher on the ridge.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The thing with Jessica Fletcher is she's always unbothered. Angela Lansbury is the queen of, she figures out who did it and she's like, that's really too bad. I'm sorry that you are going to go to prison for the rest of your life. I got to go make a casserole. And then she just goes back to her life. She runs in her little sweatsuit. So Claire's not at that point.
Okay.
She's
Not
not.
yet.
No.
Fair enough. Yeah.
It really is Roger like,
Have we thought to check for fingerprints? Does anyone have a black light we could use?
like it's there's a little of that, not nearly enough though.
Yeah.
So at dinner on the ridge, it's like the family, Claire, Jamie, Bree, Roger, and Ian's kind of like reliving all the people he was talking to that day. And he mentions that the Sin Eater had died in his hut and that it was really weird that like his finger bones were missing. And then Bree's like, do you think those were part of that love charm we saw? And nobody like really, like it kind of just goes,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we know that Malva was fucking going in there and harvesting that dude's fingers.
Jeez.
And then there's a scene with Jamie and Claire in the bedroom that night after dinner that I only have one note about, but it's very important. Which is, she's talking about how something was going on in the surgery. And she says, I took some ether, and then just keeps talking. And I'm like, I took some ether, like, I went to the store.
Yeah. So I took a little ether, NBD, and then I blah, blah, blah. And Jamie, you can see
Jamie with
again,
the tiny little glasses.
they've been doing this all season. All season they've been setting up. Jamie is like, something is really up. When is she going to talk to me about whatever the fuck is going on with her? Because something is really up, but like, I'm not going to force this. Mm-hmm. But it's happened so many times, and every time he's more like, ha 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 ha.
What's wrong with you right
What's
now?
wrong
Can
with
I
my
help you?
wife?
What's going
Please
on?
let me help you.
Yeah.
You're my wife.
But he's got his tiny little glasses on, and she's all like, I took some ether, and it's like, ooh. All right, she's right on the edge. She's going to tell him.
Yeah.
You can feel it's coming.
It's rough.
She can't sleep. It's a full moon. And then fucking Lionel Brown shows up again, like he does too much in the episode. He follows her, and then she starts a voiceover, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
If you got Lionel Brown here, why?
Yeah. Well, I will say that's a moment that I found super interesting because she has her voiceover. I was Claire, who am I now? Claire Elizabeth Beecham, Dr. Randall, nurse whatever, Dr. Rawlings, blah, 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 witch, murderer, right? Like witch, murderer. And then that's her voiceover. And then Lionel Brown says murderess is most appropriate. So it's like he enters her voiceover.
That is cool.
It's very cool.
I
That's
got a little
actually-
bit of shivers.
That's actually kind of when we know
Yeah.
that she's lost, because then she goes downstairs and Jamie follows her down, and you can still see Lionel when Jamie's in the frame. So that's the first time we see him in the frame at the same time
She
as other
tries
people.
to stop Jamie from going into the surgery like he's gonna see Lionel Brown. It's upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
it's
just got
rough.
goose pimples like thinking
Yeah.
about that.
They go to that. It's too much.
Yeah.
But that is the
That
best
one was the
instance
good
of it,
one.
because for all that we sometimes complain about the voiceover, and of course there have been times that it was really good.
Yeah.
But for all that we sometimes complain, it's Claire, and it's her perspective, because it's just a reminder that she is the lens through which we're seeing this.
Yeah.
Almost, not exclusively, but almost exclusively.
Yeah.
Right? Like even the things that she doesn't know, it's all still sort of in the context of her life. Like, when is Bree going to tell her that she's pregnant? When is this going to happen? When is that going to happen? And obviously in the last episode, it was really important that we were seeing things from Claire's perspective. So when he comes into her voiceover, I mean, let's see, both sides now obviously was Frank's perspective. There's an episode where we get some Jamie voiceover. End of list.
There's never been Bree voiceover?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what
think so.
thinking about.
No.
Even when she first came through the rocks on her own?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Maybe we got some Roger voiceover in the hanging episode.
Maybe.
But no. So I thought that was a very cool choice. I
Yeah.
just wish they had done less of it. Because we don't need it. Because you know what? Caitriona was selling that shit all on her own.
Yeah, she was.
She didn't need training wheels.
And also, just the very effective camera shot of just having him quietly in the background while she's just having a scene with somebody was enough.
Yeah.
They could have taken at least maybe a quarter of his dialogue away.
Honestly, frankly, if the only thing he had said is murderous is most appropriate, and that had been his only line in the whole episode, and the rest of the time he had just been
was
in the
just
background, that would have been nightmare fuel.
That would have been
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
effective.
that would have been like
Still-
Bob from Twin Peaks.
Yes. Very, again, Twin Peaks,
Yeah.
David Lynch's Outlander. It's an interesting vibe.
But then she gets through that, goes back to bed. I don't remember how that resolves. But then it's the next day, and Ian tells Jamie and Claire that Lizzie is pregnant.
Oh, well, briefly. So Ian runs into Lizzie and says, "Hey, have you seen the Beardsleys? I'm supposed to be taking them with me when I go." And Lizzie's like, "What? Beardsleys? No. What? Nothing to see here. I'm fine. Everything's cool."
Oh yeah, she
And then
covered for them before.
And
Yeah.
then we cut away from it, right?
Okay.
And so at this point, Ian is like, "Listen,
Something's up.
Lizzie told me," and we don't see this happen, but Lizzie told me she's preggers. And then Jamie's like, "But men
is it?"
asks, who is father?" And you cannot name the father? And Ian goes, he just kind of shrugs and he goes, "Beardsley." And then Jamie's like, "Which one?" And Ian
So-
just is like,
Oh, gee.
"Buckle up. Here we go."
Lizzie is a freak, y'all, and I stand a Polly Queen. She is having sex with both of those twins.
Fuck.
Well, at the same time.
Oh.
So it's like at first you're like, ooh,
Not exclusively,
not a,
but
but it has happened. And so at first you're like, fuck yeah, have sex with whoever you want. And then you're like a little bit like, wait, twin brothers are that close? Like, I don't know. That seems a little squidgy.
Yeah.
her argument is that they're
One
two
soul.
bodies, one soul.
Okay.
And in her defense, they seem to agree with that.
Yeah,
This
they're
is
doing it.
everybody is on board with this arrangement.
Okay.
Lizzie and her two boyfriends, who happen to be identical everywhere. Caitlin O'Ryan is very funny. When she's talking to Claire, Claire's like, "Okay,
Can we have the sex talk now? And Lizzie's
so
like, no, I know everything.
Can you tell me what happened? And she's like, oh, well, I wanted to tell you, but I didn't know. I'd say, it feels so nice. I had it before, but you maybe came close once or twice. And Caitriona's very funny in this scene. The whole time she's like, that's too much information. That's too much information. That's the great.
But I want to be supportive. I want to be supportive.
We don't kink shame in this surgery, but what? What?
Oh my
Basically, when Jamie and Claire were off in Wilmington or whatever, when they went to get high with Flora McDonald, Lizzie got malaria.
Remember the
Yeah.
ointment?
The ointment.
Yeah.
So
Chekhov's
she
ointment,
says
buddy.
you have to like she felt the fever coming on. You have to rub it all over, and I'm gonna be under the sheets. And then they wanted to warm her body up, so they get under too. And then it was, oh no, they might ruin their shirts, so they take off their shirts. And then everything was so slippery.
Oh my God.
And it
Yes,
just
it was
sort
a
of
greased up
happened.
threesome.
Oh.
2 of them being twin brothers.
In a malaria fit.
Yeah, and the other one's got malaria. What the fuck?
Wow.
These people are straight freaks. They like to get it on.
Man.
There is very obvious that this woman is having some good sex.
She's getting it,
Fuck.
But
like hard.
she's very funny. She just keeps going, they're identical everywhere. She's talking about like their nipple hair and shit. It's very. The implication is
That's
that
the
their
Lottie.
dicks are identical.
Yeah.
But it just this episode, and one of the things this episode does really well is it's straight ridiculous, right? It's
Yeah.
Lottie. It is. I was talking about them saving something for comic relief, right? That was this. I was like, they're obviously waiting. However, the context they take totally seriously, which is that everybody already thinks that Claire is a fucking witch and that Jamie had sex with this woman consensually or otherwise, and it's unclear what the situation is there, and had this baby, and then her wife like they
And now there's
cannot
another pregnant, unmarried young
possibly
woman.
have
Oh,
the
yeah.
woman in their house. This young woman is knocked up, and apparently it's the 2 twins, which does not sound like a plausible lie. So then maybe everybody just thinks it's Jamie, right?
Yeah.
Like it is bad timing.
Yes. Bad look.
And Lizzie recognizes this, but also she's getting thoroughly railed. Yeah, and enjoying it very much.
She is living her best fucking life with these guys.
Good on her.
So we gotta be like, yay, Lizzie, but then also
Challenging.
you're gonna have to
That's,
fix
that's a challenging
So
situation.
Jamie basically is like, okay, well, time for me to.
Yeah, I wrote down Jamie's gonna talk to a twin.
Yeah. It's like, I'll just go find one of them, I guess.
I'm just gonna go pick one of them, and we're gonna do a handfast ceremony like right now. Okay, because she's like 2 months along, so it's like right, you got to be now. You
Yeah.
got to be married now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For these people that don't know anything about pregnancy yet or medicine or like get married now, and it'll look like
Yeah.
it was it right.
Yeah.
And then there's this very specific scene where Mr. Bug talks shit to Roger about the hog slaughter, and I know it was about scaring the kid.
Yeah, we get 2 instances. First, Mrs. Bug is being an asshole to Claire about like living in a disreputable house. Then Brianna tells Roger that Jemmy said that he overheard Mr. and Mrs. Bug talking about who can and can't go to heaven and ghosts, and if you whatever you're a ghost.
So he's scared now of Malva's ghost.
And then he asked Brianna, if I say my prayers or whatever, does that mean Granny won't turn me into a ghost too? So that Roger is,
so now Jimmy's like, is my grandma a witch?
yeah. So Roger is pissed. He's like, Mr. Bug, may I have a word? Maybe don't talk about nightmare shit around my kid. And Mr. Bug is like, well, they gotta grow up sometime. So I'm about to murder a pig. Did you want to help? No. Oh wait, you're a pussy? You're a pussy?
That's exactly what he did, dude.
Oh my
It's really,
God.
That
it's
is
really
exactly
wild.
what he did.
Oh my God. Oh.
I said, Mr. Bug, what's up with the hog slaughter taunt?
Yeah, so the bugs are not happy with the situation. It's bad. It's bad. Everything's not coming up Millhouse. No, it's the opposite.
Oh my God.
Opposite.
My next note is, it does no good to quote, "do not kill," says the serial killer. So is this when Claire says lets Jamie in a little bit? No. Roger says what he needs to get ordained to be the religious minister. I've got a little bit of a time fuck here.
So,
I'm not sure.
well, we'll just push some stories forward. So there is a subplot in this episode, which is Roger figuring out that they've been dragging this out all season.
Yeah, and why this episode? I guess to pump it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because Bree and Roger have to leave. It's important that they're not there.
Oh.
Right?
Got
they're
it.
destabilized. So
Got it.
essentially Roger is like, they ask him to perform the funeral. There's this very upsetting scene where they're getting ready to carry Malva's body out.
We're not there yet. We're almost there.
Okay. Basically Roger is figuring out that he wants to be a minister.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he tells Jamie that he thinks he couldn't fight in a war.
Yeah.
Like, he couldn't fight with an army, but he could take up arms to defend people. They talk a little bit about the Browntown ass clowns that they killed when they were rescuing Claire.
Yeah.
It's a very good little Jamie Rogers scene.
Yeah.
And Roger's been trying to figure out what he's doing, like what his purpose is.
Yes,
so
right.
He's found
his
it.
special purpose.
Yeah, his special purpose.
But you're right. It's Roger that Jamie says that too.
Yeah.
He's like, it's all good to quote that shit, and I'm like, says the man who's killed like.
He says, like, in other versions, essentially, he's like, in other versions of the Bible, the word murder is used. It's like, it's a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Roger's like, yeah. By the way, I think I want to be a minister.
Yeah.
He's like, cool, dude.
All right, sweet.
You're good at it. He's
Get
like,
it.
Thanks, boss. Mm-hmm. It's a nice little scene.
I wrote down always meddling because Lionel Brown, ass clown, shit stir ghost had a moment where he said, "Always meddling," and I really like that phrase.
It's a little Scooby-Doo-ish.
It is a little bit. It sounds, especially if you do it in a pirate voice.
Hey, Claire,
You always meddling.
it's me, the Ether Mask. You're always meddling.
And then this is when I said, he's not even talking anymore. He's just her thoughts.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
And then this is one that makes Claire like really go off the deep end. Like, she takes a lot of ether. Like, she takes the thing and is like.
Oh my God.
And then we see Galus.
Yeah, we get a little glimpse.
Is that a flashback? Or
This
she-
is like a
oh, yeah.
weird like thing, whatever. And so I think that means that Claire knows that the witch mob is coming. I think she knows.
She knows that things are about to get real bad.
Yeah.
There's because we hear Dougal, we hear Frank, we hear Galus, we hear people
Yeah.
that have called her a liar, people that have suspected her, people that think, well, in the case of Galus thinks that they're two peas in a pod,
Yeah.
right? And Galus is a straight murderess.
Yeah.
So,
Bad news.
I mean, we stand Galus Duncan, but that
Straight
bitch
murderess.
she's a straight murderess. She is
Gonna kill a bitch.
She's not a good person.
Yeah.
A fashion icon,
Yes.
a compelling character, but not a good person.
And then we have Malva's funeral, and there could not be more drama. There could not be more drama. First of all, we see Jamie and Claire coming up the stairs that they've dug into the hillside to get up to this church, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they late? They come into this funeral late, like it's kind of already started, and here come the people that, like, they think he's the guy that raped her, and then here's the woman that killed her. Obviously, they have to be there because they have to show that they're not afraid. But why be late, bitch?
Well,
Maybe you don't
Claire-
want to talk to anybody?
Well, Claire also probably just woke up. She's going through some
She's
shit.
also still rocking her like military inspired, no ruffles sort of.
Her hair's grown out a little bit, but
Yeah.
she's still got the very, like,
It's-
aesthetic.
I saw a s-
nun out.
I
It
saw a
is a
screen-
great costume.
I saw a
So good.
screenshot of her, like one of her wig moments, and so cool. Dig it.
Yeah.
But they come in and they sit in the back pew, and for some reason, I don't know why Tom Christie allowed it, but Roger is preaching at this funeral. Maybe it's because Tom Christie didn't think anybody else would do it. because his
Well,
daughter
they're
was
not
a whore.
Catholic. That's
Right.
why.
Ah,
There's
that's
no
right.
priest, and they know Roger's not a minister, but Roger had been visiting the Christies, right? Like,
Yeah.
Roger is trying to be a support system to all
Yeah.
of these people. And so it's complicated, but they're more down with Roger than they are with everybody else because he's not a heathen.
And Roger's doing a good job, and it's okay. And then all the pallbearers, so like Get Fucked Face and Tom Christie, and like all the people go up there to grab her casket, and there's obviously one spot left empty. And Jamie, immediately being Jamie, stands up and is like, I'll do it, and starts walking up there, and they're all like, no.
Whoa.
And he's like, oh, shit. And then Ian does it.
Yeah, Ian goes up and he's like, oh,
Good on you, Ian.
Come
damn it.
on. And
Let's
then
do
they
this.
start walking, and then Claire realizes that the baby's casket is still in the corner, not being carried out. And what does she do?
it's not the smartest thing she
It's
ever
the
did.
stupidest.
She gets up
fucking-
and she grabs it because she's gonna carry it out, and then
They
Get
already
Fucked
think-
Face is like, put that
He
down.
grabs it away from her, so it's like fucking high alive with the baby casket.
Yeah,
Like it's like terrible.
He lets go of the casket, and Malva's casket's like.
Oh no.
So all the, oh my
It's
god,
bad.
it's
Oh, no.
terrible. But also, there's something in the way that Alan feels. I got questions about old Get Fucked Face and Malva. I have questions about what we may never know.
Yeah.
But it seems like he felt some sort of weird, like, I won't say ownership because that's not the right word, but like he didn't want anybody else touching that baby's casket.
Possessive.
I'll
Yeah.
just, yes, thank you. I'll
Yeah,
just
yeah.
say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You took my sister from me. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Um.
So, drama.
Yeah. It's bad. It's all really bad. But luckily, Lizzie is still fucking two identical twins.
Hell yeah. So let's go back to that. So Jamie's finally like, we got to sort this shit out. So they find them. They've been hiding out in the stable, which is why, remember when she had
yeah.
that? Because she was going to the stable to like
She's
keep it
getting a
on the
roll.
down low and still fucking getting plugged. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
She's getting rolled.
And they go in, they find him, they pull him out, and Jamie's like, all right, bitches. And he fucking breaks some straws, and he's like, whoever draws the long straw gets Lizzie, whatever. And they have to draw straws. And it looks like Kezi drew the straw that meant he had to get hand-fasted to Lizzie.
Yeah.
And then Josiah's like, bummer.
It's Jamie's like, all right, so do you take her? Do you and Kezzy's like, yes. And Lizzie's like, do you take him? And Lizzie's like, is this it? This is just, she's like, yep, bing bang boom, your hand fast.
Your hand-fast, I know it's got to be consecrated at some point, but it's fine now. Y'all can fuck.
Great.
So and now you
great.
gotta
and
go.
you, and she points at Josiah, you gotta peace out until that baby's born, because this shit is weird. And they all look very upset, right?
Yeah.
They're not about it.
Yeah.
But Lizzie and Kezzy are handfast, as witnessed by multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
And Josiah needs to peace out.
Mm-hmm. God, I love Lizzie.
Spoiler, Josiah does not peace out.
Josiah, come on.
Oh, but wait, the way that it comes back is so good, and it makes you even respect Lizzie a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yep, this bitch.
What'd
This
happen?
bitch.
What'd you
Wait,
do?
not yet.
Oh.
We gotta string that fun part out so that the rest of this dour bullshit has something to land on.
Sure.
So Roger's low-key obsessed with getting ordained. He cannot stop talking about it. He's talking to Bree about it again. And he's like, what's best for my family?
Well, yeah, he's nervous about talking to Bree because he knows it's going to be complicated.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want her, especially with all of the Amy McCallum stuff, right? Like, we've already seen an example of how this is going to make their lives more complicated. And Sophie is really good in this scene. Brianna, to her credit, is like, this makes perfect sense. You are great at it. So now let's have a practical conversation. My mom was
And my dad.
always on duty. She was always on duty. So she was constantly being called off to deal with her patients.
Oh, sorry, my mom and your dad.
Yes.
Reverend Wakefield.
As the son of a minister, we both know what it's like to have parents whose jobs are essentially nonstop because they're always on call. So what happens to our kids?
Yeah.
What is that
get
going
it
to be
together.
like?
Think about
And
it.
they have this really good, frank conversation
You said it.
about what that's going to look like. Like, what is it like when somebody's crying at their kitchen table, and what's it going to be like when he's called away, but Jemmy needs him? And Roger says, I'm called to do this, but I was called to be your husband and his father first. So that will always be my priority. And they have this very nice little exchange. And then Roger's like, great. So there's a presbytery in Wilmington. So we should start packing. And Bree's like,
And
Okay.
she already has her hands full of a pile of clothes. I guess it was laundry day because at one point later we see fucking Richard's chonies and they're not looking good. But she has this enormous handful of clothes that she sets off to the side while she's talking to him. Yeah. And I'm like, it's a little too close to the candle.
yeah, we got to be
Like,
careful.
it was just like right here. Has she already worn that denim thing?
I don't know. It's good. It's good.
You know what I'm talking about,
Yes.
though, right? It was my favorite costume in the entire episode. We'll see if
Yeah.
it's still in my notes.
Okay.
But
That's because it's the one that's the most 70s.
yeah, well, you know
It's
what
your
I
aesthetic.
like.
It's
Yeah,
your
you know
aesthetic.
what I fucking like.
It is.
Everything's coming up starboard right now as far as the 70s aesthetic. I just want everybody
It's
to know.
true.
I've been talking about this for like 4 years and it's coming back hard. So then we have a scene where Claire gets up out of bed and we're all like, hey, Claire, guess what's going on? Let's take some ether. Right, she gets up and that's what we think she's going to do.
It's me, your old friend, the ether mask.
And she gets up and Jamie's like immediately like, what's going on? And she's like, I'm just going to get a cup of tea. And I'm like, said the thing that all smokers have said to somebody at some point.
Tea. Do you know tea cures all ills? Just a nice, wholesome cup of tea.
And then she finds out that, is Lizzie there? Does she have a full conversation with Lizzie where she finds out that Lizzie is the person that was running at her in the surgery?
It wasn't. No, it was Malva. Malva came and was trying to knock on the door. It's both.
Oh.
Okay.
Basically, Lizzie is like wandering around the house, and Claire comes up to her and is like,
she had to pick a twin.
Miss Beardsley. Which is Mrs. Beardsley. I feel like you're avoiding me. And Lizzie's like, I'm not avoiding you. It's just, does Josiah really have to go? Claire's like, Mr. Fraser's made his decision. And yeah, you know what? We gotta postpone the whole thing where everybody starts gossiping about how you've been fucking identical twins, at least for a while. So no, he's gotta go. Like, I don't know if you know this, but I was recently found with my entire arms inside a dead body. We can't.
Ripping out a fetus and then sucking the breath out of it?
Yeah, we can't deal with this right now, Lizzie. I'm just gonna need you to just fuck the one twin for a while. Okay?
I'm just going to say that I don't float.
But Lizzie says, "Oh, I wasn't keeping it from you. Julie, that's dark.
That was really
Took me a
dark.
minute.
Fucking truth.
Oh God.
My hands are tied. I don't float.
You know what's funny? I was thinking shower thoughts. I was thinking about I was thinking about why I think the Malva storyline has been so well handled, this is also a really well handled storyline in the books. But I was very nervous about it as the adaptation, as I've said before. But I think the reason that it works in both is because it's a lot like Abigail Williams I was about to say Abigail Proctor, but that is not correct. Abigail Williams in The Crucible.
In the wheelhouse. Yeah.
Only not sexist. Because it's asking the question, or here making clear that we don't have the answer to why someone would do this, why someone would tell this lie. In The Crucible, it's, well, she's telling this lie because she wants to fuck that guy.
Yes.
Like,
Here,
that's why.
not clear.
And she's out for revenge, and that is not clear at all. So Malva is an enigma, but that's way better than being a stereotype.
Yes.
Right? So when Claire is trying to figure out how the fuck she feels about all of this, Lizzie mentions, I wanted to tell you about it. I came up to the surgery on the day that Malva died, and I knocked and knocked and knocked, and you didn't answer.
To tell you I was pregnant. And now she's like, wait a minute. So maybe that was Lizzie. So Malva didn't knock on my door.
No, it's that Lizzie, she has an alibi, essentially, because Claire saw Malva coming, and took the ether. And that's the portion of her time that she can't account for, right? She saw Malva coming. She took the ether. She woke up. Malva was dead.
Yeah.
What she now knows is that she saw Malva coming. She took the ether. And somewhere in between Malva coming up to the door and Claire waking up, Lizzie showed up and was banging on the door. And Lizzie would have noticed a dead body.
Yeah.
So she's essentially Claire's alibi, which means she still had motive and she still had means.
All right, Perry Mason.
But she didn't have opportunity. So basically, she's like, "Yes, I'm not a murderer." And then Lionel Brown is like, "Bitch, yes, you are. Just because you didn't do this doesn't mean you didn't do other shit." It's rough.
This is one of the creepiest shots of him.
Yeah.
Because he's right by the door while she's like on the extreme other side of the frame. It's just kind of like his shadow. And it's like, oh.
So...
And then this is where Caitriona Balfe owns her fucking Emmy.
Yeah.
This is the scene.
This is it.
Jamie comes down the stairs padding after her, remember? Because she's like, I gotta go to... I need some tea.
Yeah, she's getting some tea.
Great.
Yeah.
He's finally had enough and comes downstairs, and she is obviously distraught. And this is the moment where she's like, don't go in there! Because she thinks that Lionel Brown is in the room.
Yeah. It's obvious that things have started to blur enough for her that she doesn't want him to go in the surgery.
And Jamie is like, fuck you, bitch, I am coming in here. What? Come here, tell me. And then Claire, just tells him everything. She tells him everything. She tells him how she's been reliving all this trauma and how she can't control it anymore. This is the compartmentalization speech.
Yeah.
She really just vulnerably lays it out to this man because she trusts and respects and believes in him so much. And you know what? He takes it. He takes it. And he's just happy that she would tell him this, right? Mm-hmm. And he comes back after she unburdens, she literally like unpacks everything. And he's like, Remember Wentworth? You did this for me already.
Yeah, she's saying, I feel like I'm never going to have this darkness out of me. I'm never going to get over this. Oh. And Jamie says, well, I mean, I did. That's never going to be totally gone, but I've been where you are and you got me through it. So please let me get you through it. It's a very nice scene.
It's so good.
They're both very, very good in it.
Caitriona is on fire.
Yeah, Caitriona really is like, ugh.
Like real crying, like kind of ugly sniffling.
Ugly crying. Yeah, no like single tear runs down the cheek. Like puffy face.
Really vulnerable, really scared, and just like finally admitting to him that she's been having a rough time.
Yeah.
And then there's this beautiful shot where they hug and you see her like actually grab on. They make a point of showing her hands like grabbing onto him. And it's just such a relief because you've seen them. It's not like they haven't been connected, but she's been keeping all of this shit so locked up. Mm-hmm. And it's just really nice to see them sort of share this experience. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile,
I wrote, Caitriona is very good at her job.
She's extremely good at her job.
Okay. Meanwhile, Lizzie is a shitty bitch.
So,
what's Lizzie doing?
She shows up at Roger and Bree's house.
Yeah.
And she's like, I need to be handfast. And it's like in the middle of the night. And this is where we see Roger's nasty chonies.
Yeah, Roger is...
we do see his nasty chonies.
They have woken Roger and Bree up.
Yeah.
And Roger's shirt is looking not crisp.
Because remember, I don't know if you remember what Keenan told us about,
about
those long shirts they wrap under your taint and shit.
Yeah.
Well, laundry day's been missing in the old Roger cabin.
So Lizzie's like, I'm pregnant.
I need to be handfast. Please come outside. You're the closest thing I know to.
Yeah. And
hold on.
What's going on here?
Hold on. Roger's like, but I'm not a priest. Lizzie's like, yeah, but so I'm knocked up. So we got to do this, and there won't be a priest for a long time. So can you handfast us? And Bree's like, well, you just did say you want to be a minister. And Roger says, okay, well, let me go put some pants on because I'm not doing my first marriage.
Bare ass. And then he walks away, and the long shirt down halfway through his thighs is just like kind of a sea gray at the bottom. It's gross. And you're like, damn, chonies.
Christ.
But you know what? Props to Allender for showing how those things actually worked.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what that shirt would look like.
So Roger handfasts Lizzie and Josiah Beardsley.
What
Yeah!
the fuck?
Yeah, she figured it out. Now she's handfast to both twins.
Lizzie.
There's a little extra detail in the book that they remove whatever scar I think Josiah had on his hand or something.
Oh, the thief.
thief
Thing.
so that you can no longer tell the difference. You can't tell who is who visually.
Because Lizzie required that to get off.
No, because that way they don't know who to send away. She's just trying to outsmart Jamie.
Yeah.
They don't know who to send away because they can't tell which twin is which. So they're like, we'll never tell. We're both Josiah and Keziah Beardsley.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking
I mean, damn.
poly power throuple.
Dude, have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Eat two
Gee.
cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking double layered.
And take a prenatal vitamin.
And
Yeah.
triple stuffed.
They obviously love each other very much.
They do.
Yeah.
But also,
Good grief.
So Roger and Bree are taken off.
Yeah.
This comes out when Roger's like, oh yeah, last night I did my first hand fast, and Claire and Jamie are like,
Wait, what?
Excuse me? What?
oh,
What? So-
Josiah.
Oh,
Shit.
well,
Motherfuck.
Fucking Lizzie, God, smarter than we thought. Shit.
Lizzie.
What are we doing with all these smart bitches on this mountain?
Oh my God.
And yeah, Jamie finds out about it, and then all of a sudden, we hear a whole bunch of horse hooves.
Oh no.
Big old posse showing up on the ridge.
And here comes the surviving Brown with a small army.
Because he knows that if he tries to come up to Jamie's house and say, I accuse your wife of murder, Jamie's going to come out swinging. So instead, he's got a little army with
Yeah.
him.
Oh no.
So he comes up and he says, I'm going to charge your wife with murder.
Oh no.
And that's the end of the episode.
Oh no.
Well, we
Yeah.
all knew it was coming.
Yeah, that's true.
It was an entire episode of knowing it was coming.
Yeah. So,
Except for the fucking Lizzie throuple shit.
That was.
so let's do some scales.
Okay.
Let's do the getting up to get a beer scale. Are we talking on the low end, Ken Burns baseball, and on the high end, we got to play the hits.
Yeah.
It's Janine's last show.
Yeah.
No, not Janine's last show. Janine's last in-person show.
Yeah.
Yes.
For a while. For the foreseeable future. So on the low end, Ken Burns baseball. On the high end, specifically the section of Speed where they realize that a part of the freeway is missing and they're going to have to jump.
Wait, which scale is this?
This is getting up to get a beer.
Getting up to get a beer. Well, it's definitely not the fucking speed scene.
It's not.
That's a good scene.
I'm going to try to
that
think of thruples. I'm going to say getting up to get a beer is probably like chasing Amy, like anytime. Anytime I would have gotten up to get a beer.
Yeah,
a good
you're
reference.
engaged, but there's
But-
not a...
You don't feel like you're going to miss anything if you're gone for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because whatever you miss is going to get reinforced later.
Yeah.
It's clear that they're like
It's
threading
it's
the
a
same
repetitive
thing.
That's
episode.
very good. That's a very
Yeah,
good scale.
that's good.
That's nice.
All right, costumes. So let's go... what's the name of that roller disco...
Roll bounce.
roll bounce. High end is roll bounce. Low end, let's say, Ken Burns baseball.
Well, it's definitely higher than Ken Burns baseball because I know I mentioned it, but we didn't really get to talk about it. There is a costume in this episode that Bree wears. I don't remember the skirt part of it. I just remember the top part of it. It looked like denim. It looked like it was denim.
Cool.
It's the costume 18th century equivalent of oh yeah, all right, take it easy, baby. I make it last all night. It's good.
But it's like a top that's this blue woven thing that just looks like denim, and it's got a very 70s silhouette.
Oh, cool.
And you know how I roll.
Yeah.
And she already said roll bounce because she knew I was going to go 70s on it. Oh, Neil's somewhere. What is a movie with 70s shit in it where the 70s shit is not the focus?
What's that Mark Wahlberg movie? Where he's a porn star?
Oh no, the 70s is the focus. 70s,
you're
80s
right.
is the focus. Like if there's something where there's a flashback,
Oh.
I don't know. I got nothing. Something that has 70s themes but doesn't focus on the 70s. Can you think of anything?
I'm thinking like a Will Ferrell movie where they flash back to him being a kid, but it's not about that moment. But I can't think of which Will Ferrell movie that would be.
What if it's the? No, I got nothing, dude.
I got nothing.
It's fine. There are good costumes, but it's
not about
It's a
costumes.
shrug of an episode.
Sure.
Yeah,
But
shrug.
with a couple of good costumes.
Yeah.
All right, and the doing it scale. Now we should acknowledge there's no sex in this episode.
None.
However,
All right.
it does not matter.
Yeah, it still sounds like it slaps.
Well, until you get to a point where you consider, at least in my opinion, hell yeah for Lizzie getting what she wants, but it's also like
Yeah.
two twin brothers getting with it. I don't know. There's just
I should
something.
clarify. They're definitely not fucking.
No,
No,
they're-
Josiah and Keziah are not boning.
but
Yeah.
they're still in the same room. Like just thinking about siblings being in the same area while this shit is happening is just not to my taste.
Sure.
So I'm proud of Lizzie for getting what she wants, but it's also, to me, in my opinion, once again, just a little bit weird that it's brothers.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that makes it East of Eden.
Great. And who is I mean the platinum penalty for this episode is obviously Caitriona. She
Yes.
just
Yeah.
annihilated
Yes,
it.
she killed it.
Yeah. So that was a delight.
Sorry, I had to get myself there.
Oh God.
So that's gonna do it for us. We want to thank everybody for listening. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/podlandercast. You can find us on Twitter at for now at least.
For now.
At Podlandercast. You can find us on Instagram at Podlandercast and also Podlander Presents and also Sickburn Jane and it's just those three. I don't know why I was going to pretend like there were more.
There will be more.
You can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/PodlanderDrunkcast, where you can support the show, get access to our crowdcasts, such as the crowdcast that we are doing to properly send Janine off at the end of the season, which I will say now is May
7th?
Nope, that's our live show.
Our live show. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't know shit.
It's really true. You don't. Okay.
I know John Steinbeck novels.
It's May 15. It's May 15. You can join us on patrons can join us on May 15 for the wake for Janine's funeral that was originally scheduled for last week, and then some stuff came up and we couldn't do it. So it is May 15th, right? It's May 15th. It's May 15th.
That's a Sunday.
It's May 15th.
Yeah.
It's May 15th. What you can find it on our crowdcast. Anyway, you can support through Patreon and get access to that, as well as Janine's Corner, like the Janine's Corner we're about to record, where Julie sticks her fingers in her ears and goes la 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 la, and I tell them about a certain event that happened and go tell the bees that thing. Patreon.com/PodlanderDrunkcast. We want to thank all of our patrons, but especially the following wonderful people: Kelly Armstrong, Sydney Taylor, BG, Just Bree, Catspaw156, Maddie Perkins, Snazanak, Lisa Brienne, Julia Gulia, Kathleen Martini, Lauren Tennant, Kelsey Kemp, Emily Day, Betsy English, Julia's dabbing, guys, Caitlin Reddick, Jen Collins, Ashley Tegas, and Tina Barnett, Nicole Rodriguez, Kristen Freckle, Fury, Laura Colm, Amelia Bazell, Liz and Tinkerbell, Stella Welch, Tori Halligan, Claire Feeney, Rochelle Lefevre, Jerry Hurdle, Emily Carlson, Amy Gustafson. Now they're trying to floss. Rachel Townsend, Kelly Mazzella, Chantel Salters, Mary the Falling Statue, Tara Lakino, Viv Pickles, a.k.a. Laura Mary of the Grapefruit, Jenna Polkowski, Ann Gibson, Riz McCormick, Karen Marlowe, Trish McCurry, Julie DeToy, Jen Lynn, Kelly Bodden, Noon, and Kiki the Wise. And we especially want to thank our dear friend Janine, Mr. Aaron Pagel.
Thanks for everything, dude.
Yeah, it's been fun.
We will be talking next week, and I'm sure that he will be back from time to time. But cheers. We love you, dude. Congratulations.
Love you too.
It's going to be the shit.
Yeah. It's a new adventure.
And just think, every once in a while, I'm just going to text you, and it's just going to say some batshit crazy thing, and you're going to have to guess whether or not it actually happened on Outlander.
Can't wait.
Bye.
Bye.